I think I was definitely suffering from serious pain. And gosh, I can't, I would lie to you if I didn't think about suicide.
Sure.
I would lie to you if I didn't want to just end it.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the #1 mental health and addiction podcast, the Hopeaholics. I am your girl, Natalie Eva Marie, and these are my boys.
I'm Chad.
Hi, I'm Shane.
Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow us on our socials and wherever you get your podcasts.
Got a new episode dropping every Monday and Thursday. Please come check it out.
This episode is brought to you by the Infinity Group. You guys, if you or a loved one is suffering, please call us today. The number is right here on the screen. We are here for you 24/7. Now, let's get into the episode.
Well, welcome to the Hopeaholics
Thank
podcast.
you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you I'm happy to be here to meet you guys.
That's actually, I'm glad you said your name the way you did because
Yeah,
I would have done the first name.
Yeah.
I was not going to try.
You weren't going to try. You weren't going to be courageous enough to do
No.
Quiroz.
Say it again, your last name?
Quiroz.
Quiroz.
It's like a K and an S.
There you go.
Yeah. You said it right. Quiroz.
I did?
Quiroz.
Yeah,
You
got
try it.
You got the
Yeah.
tongue. Quiroz.
Yeah, I remember when I,
Quiroz.
came to the U.S.
Sure.
I was like, trying to make everybody say it like however it was comfortable for them before I knew my self-worth. But I'd be like, Quiroz, but no, now I'm just like, Quiroz.
Yeah,
you can either
see,
say it or you can't.
I would have gone with Quiroz. Quiroz.
Well, yeah.
No.
No?
But it's kind of, I hate to say it, but it's like
Quiznos?
Quiznos.
Quiznos.
Yeah.
But because
Oh.
of the QU, you know what I mean? But it's Quiroz, not Quiznos.
Quiroz.
How old were you when you came to the States?
When we first came to the United States, I was 8.
Okay.
So we left Mexico when I was 8, went to New York.
Uh-huh.
And that was quite an experience. I remember we flew into Manhattan. And I just remember, I was in the back of the seat. We got picked up as little kids, by my mom's husband that she married back then. And I just remember seeing the streets of New York, and the signs and just trying to read everything I could read. I didn't know any English, of course. But I just remember seeing people and trash cans and like the sidewalks. And I was just like mesmerized because it was a city, like I was driving through the city. I've never really seen anything like that. But it was dark. And then I remember they took us to the Statue of Liberty like the next day. And they put us in one of those cruises or whatever, the tour things, the tour boats. And it was super windy, super, super windy. And there was no chains around the boat. Like there were no chains, no protection. So you literally could fall out of the dang thing. Like I just remember I was like, woo, the wind would blow me off. In fact, I have pictures of me and my brother. But it was beautiful. It was just a beautiful experience to be, to come to the U.S. and see the Statue of Liberty. We left all our family in Mexico City, like all our cousins and uncles and aunts. And so it was quite of an experience. But we didn't stay for very long. We were just visiting. So I don't know how long we were staying in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
And so we went back to Mexico City. And then my mom came back and she was trying to fix our papers. And we bounced around a little bit from aunt to aunt and family household from family household in Mexico. And until my mom got us our papers when I was 13. And then she flew us out to Rosarito Beach. And she found us a couple of rooms, with no running water and no, we did have electricity, just no running water. We did have a stove. And she enrolled us in school, and we came out, and we started living by ourselves, me and my brother. I was 13. He was 14. 14 and a half. And my mom would come and go from San Diego. So she would work graveyard. So she would only come on the weekends just to drop off food on Fridays. She'd go shopping and bring food and, bring us all kinds of food that we could probably cook for ourselves,
Wow.
And she would leave on a Sunday. And then I would just stay there with my brother, and he'd go to school in the afternoon. I would go in the morning. So I never saw him. So, it was quite a lifestyle change for sure. We had pretty much everything in Mexico City. Like, we weren't rich, but we had running water. We had TV. We had our family. And then we went from that to living by ourselves. So it's a little bit you know, a little
Group
shocking.
fast. Yeah, group
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, you know, again, I didn't even have a TV. I just had a little alarm radio. You know, those from the 90s where you have the clock
Oh, yeah,
or whatever.
transistor radio.
Yeah.
Whatever, yeah.
That was my entertainment. So I learned a bunch of songs like since I was very young. Yeah. So that was an experience, but I think I had a lot of time to think and to know myself and to learn confidence, to learn courage, and gratefulness and empathy. You know what I mean? Because of course you're lonely, right?
Yeah.
So you have to learn those things when you can choose to learn those things, I think. So
And how long were you guys?
I was there for a year and a half.
Wow.
Yeah. And we did well. I mean, considering I joined the volleyball team, joined the basketball team. I loved it. I fell in love with basketball. Oh my gosh. I still love basketball. And that started in Mexico City. I remember I was in 4th grade before we came to Rosarito Beach. I was like, it was during recess, and I remember, you know, holding, like my girlfriends would just hold hands, you know, little girls in Mexico City, they like to hold hands when they're young, you know, and they just hang out and they talk. And I just remember looking at the basketball course and I was like, and I was like, gosh, I want to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
I just remember that. And I'm like, I want a basketball. So my aunt bought me a basketball. And next thing you know, I show up with my basketball and I just start playing with the guys, the dudes. And it didn't matter. I mean, I was the only girl, but I was loving it. So that was fun. But that's how I picked it up. And then in Rosarito Beach, I started playing. And we played against teams and just had a phenomenal coach, represented the school. I mean, I excelled somehow. I don't know why, but I did. So yeah, that's part of my
Good for
background.
you.
Yeah,
It's not
awesome.
easy coming here from my parents are immigrants. You know, a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety.
For sure.
You know, a lot of confusion. Like, is this going to be the same forever? You know, but they had no food back in the old country, and you know, so yeah, I get it.
But that hustle and that grit is
that's-
very
there you
much,
go.
it's instilled,
That's
like
the
my parents too, and
Yeah.
and my
But
grandparents.
you went from Mexico City to Rosarito,
Yes.
Mexico,
Yes.
before you came to America.
Correct. Correct. We were there for about a year and a half. My mom fixed our visa, and we were able to come across the U.S. and then
Rosarito's beautiful.
I mean, there are
like
parts
there's
of it.
Yeah.
The parts that
I was on the poor
tourists,
side. I was on the
yeah,
poor
the
side.
parts
Yeah.
that the tourists
Yeah.
go to are beautiful. My
Yeah.
friend's dad, mom had a condo in Rosarito.
Yeah.
When we were in high school, so it was,
nice.
guess what?
Oh, boy.
You know, and then you have to understand.
Oh,
And when
boy.
we were in high school,
Mexican,
early
baby.
90s, you could,
Yeah.
Senor Frogs was right
Oh,
there.
Oh,
yeah.
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 No, I was away from all that, you know, because I was a kid and I was going to school and I was on the poor side. So, I mean, yeah, we weren't really exposed to that, and that's good. I'm glad, you know,
Yeah.
'cause it sort of saved me. I'm sure.
Oh, for
but if I
sure.
would have stayed there, I'm sure I was heading into trouble for sure. Because you know, I became 14. Started liking boys. I'm sure, you know, wanted to start dating, and I'm just like, gosh, man, I'm glad my mom brought us with her. You know what I mean? But
When you guys came to America after that, where did you go?
Peñasquitos,
Where's that?
Carmen Mountain, San Diego.
Oh, wow.
So you know, do you know San Diego or no? No.
My college roommate is from Chula Vista.
Oh, Chula Vista. Okay. Do you guys know San Diego at all?
I know it a little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's still a very nice area, very, very pretty. But it was tons of Caucasian people.
Yeah.
And a lot of Filipinos. We were minority, big time. So yeah, we went to school out there, and we lived in the Peñasquito apartments, which were low-income apartments, and you know, people helped each other a lot in those kind of, like, you know, your neighbors, like they know you. You know, you ride the bus and everybody's trying to protect
That's
you,
the
and
olden
look
days.
after you.
That's
Yeah.
the olden days.
But it was, you know, I was nervous. I mean, I was nervous. I didn't speak any English. I remember being horrifically nervous. I mean, it was painful. A lot of peer pressure. You know what I mean?
Especially that's a rough age.
Oh gosh, yeah. And it was intense. It was intense, but I survived, and I wish I would have thrived, but I was surviving. Yeah.
How'd your brother do?
He was a little more shy than me. I had more of an ability to communicate. He had a harder time, and he wasn't as social. He started developing skin acne, and that's very real for people. Like, makes them feel really bad about themselves. And so he wasn't as popular. I sort of became popular. And I think it's because I was like very careful with like my outfit. You know, I'd pick my outfit the day before and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I gotta look good. So people gravitate to, you know, people that look a certain way and that fit in. And so I kind of just was like, well, I'll do whatever I need to do to fit in, you know? So, but I just remember that it's just so much to learn when you come from another country and you meet so many nationalities. And I was in ESL. Do you guys know what ESL is? So it's a classroom where you learn English in school. And I mean, there were Japanese people, there were Chinese, from Afghanistan. I mean, you name it, from back then, Iran, a lot of people from Iran. And Miss Miller was our teacher, and she was French, very sophisticated lady. And we had some issues, you know, cultural differences.
Oh, I bet.
So I had my fair share of that type of experience with people. But overall, I mean, it's, I believe people still struggle with that, you know, people that come into the U.S. and those are the people that I want to stick up for.
No, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of segueing into what you're doing now. Like, so what kind of inspired you to do what you're doing today?
Truthfully, I think I take it very seriously that people lose their lives quite easily. And I find that extremely painful. And I just don't think that we should continue ignoring what the symptoms are and what people need, you know. And I believe that it is our duty and our responsibility to care for one another and like to really love one another and to learn, you know, what love is and how to support one another however we can. You know, it could be, again, like a smile, you know, at the supermarket. Or it could very well be like, you know, bringing somebody to a beautiful meeting or educational meeting or whatever it is, you know, whatever you can do to empower somebody else. And so but it is all about saving people's lives. I just very moved by that. Very passionate.
Did something happen to
me
you when you were to get to this point?
Oh yeah,
so passionate
you know,
about?
before I even knew that I was going to do Igniting Humanity, which is my LLC, I had a girlfriend die. I was 22, and I had moved to Murrieta, California. Do you guys know where Murrieta, California is? Her name was Kat, and I had recently gotten divorced, separated. She was my neighbor, and I was going out that evening, and I knocked on her door, and I was like, Kat, you know, you want to come with us? And she came out, and she's just, you know, she had a look on her face that was, I could have gotten lost into her eyes, but I was so young, I just didn't know what it was all about. I just know that I recognized something wasn't right, but I didn't know. I mean, I just didn't know. She just looked at me, you know, just like cold, like I'm drowning, like I'm dying, like I'm done and I can't get out. Like, that's the look that she gave me, and made me uncomfortable because I didn't know what to do with it. But I said, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I'm sure. I'm like, okay, you know, okay. I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
So I left, and 3 hours later I show up, and the fire department was there, the ambulance was there, a bunch of people were there, and I have to get through because I have to go upstairs to my place. And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, she killed herself.
Oh my gosh.
And I just felt, oh gosh, I mean, it moved me. Like, you know, it definitely impacted my life because I thought how fragile we are and how human we are, you know, and and I think education and information can save people. You know what I mean? And I was young. I didn't know, but I knew something wasn't right. But so she was on medication, and she took herself. In fact, she did tell me that she took herself up some medication like 5 days before. And again, I didn't know anything about medication, gosh. And so she took herself off of it and hung herself inside the condo. And it just, I've never forgotten her because, she was so full of life, and that sort of thing happens to a lot of people. And medication is no joke. It's not one size fits all, and I think that, oh gosh, there's just so much to do in that type of what is it? I don't want to call it disease, but I don't know. I think
mental illness of
mental illness, mental health. But I do believe that unfortunately, the people that make the most money are the big companies.
Oh, big pharma.
So exactly, and that needs to change.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I'm really sorry for your loss because that's a definitely traumatic experience, especially at such a young, early age, to kind of have to endure that and not know what exactly to do with all of those emotions and not really understanding why. But it does come from big pharma in the sense of you walk into a doctor's office and you're feeling down, right? And you're not feeling well and you're feeling blue. And so you talk to a doctor because you think something is off. I'm not right. I'm not feeling good. I'm not happy. The first thing that they do is, instead of assessing you with like, okay, so let me know what are you doing on your day to day? Like, what is life look like for you? Because all of us are different individual people. So our lives are very different every single day. Whether you're married, whether you're single, are you going to school, your age, all the other factors that go into it. But then I'm wondering why they're not asking like the basic questions of like, what are you eating? How much water are you drinking?
Are you exercising?
Are you hitting sunlight?
Are you getting up in the morning?
Totally. Are you
grounding it all?
Some sort of like
What
those
are you watching?
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you feeding your ears and your eyes with? Not just your mouth.
Some of them do ask, but unfortunately, they don't follow up with it, and they don't really recommend. They don't put an emphasis, and that, believe me, because I know I've had experience with somebody that I love very much who's in my life, and I've been through. What is that doctor that we were talking about?
Amen.
Yeah. Yes. Took her there.
Bless you.
My gosh.
Thank you.
And I was promised like the world that they were going to do so much, right?
Oh, really?
I literally, and I don't know if I should say this or not, but it's my experience.
Yeah.
Literally, one of their doctors said to me, there is absolutely nothing you can do. Like, the person can be drowning, suicidal, and there's nothing you can do. You cannot save them. They can literally kill themselves and you cannot save them. Coming from a psychiatrist. And I thought, now that I know that there is a lot we can do, I just want to go kick his ass, to be honest, because that is such an irresponsible thing to say as a physician. There's so much you can do to prevent somebody from killing themselves. And you can literally not force them, but get them to the ER and convince them to get in.
There are things to do to get through the day.
Get them to the ER, save them one more day, get them some help, not necessarily send them to a mental institution, but you can at least try to help them, you know what I mean, by getting them some help.
Well, I think it's such a sticky situation because you can say that about an addict, because being an addict or an alcoholic, like, I've watched so many of friends or family, and you want to help them and you want to encourage them, one, take them to rehab, but it ultimately comes down to that addict to actually do the work and to get well. And so it comes with the individual has to be some sort of willingness where the responsibility And this is why I feel bad for parents and spouses and friends and family that are surrounded by somebody that is suffering, because you can only do so much.
Absolutely.
And you can't put all that weight on you. Hence why
You can't.
advocating, education, having these conversations that people don't necessarily want to have because they're either stigmatized, they're embarrassed or shameful or whatnot, where growing up, these conversations weren't necessarily had because it was more so a sign of weakness and people didn't want to put their shit out on the street. Where now, because we have podcasts, because we have social media, and you have a lot more people being vulnerable and vocal about the things that they have to do on a daily basis to take care of themselves. Because as we all know, if we're not right within ourselves, you cannot be a good spouse. You cannot be a good business partner. You just aren't going to be.
Yeah.
So it's like really, really important for everybody to take their health, mind, body, and soul into their
own
hands,
for sure.
and be their own advocate as well.
For sure.
So it's
For
like,
sure.
that's why it is awesome what you're doing, because really it's having those conversations and bringing that awareness to people that necessarily might not know. They don't know.
True. No, and I agree with you. I just, what I'm saying is there is something you can do when it's a crisis.
For sure.
Now, the work has to be the person's responsibility. They got to be accountable, right? And that's why you guys are here. That's why, I'm here to lead them, to show them the right ways or give them the systems and the information and stuff. But more than anything, just to remind them that they're valuable, that that we do want them here, that they are needed, that they are worthy
And
of,
you can get better.
of respect, and that they can get better, right? So, because you guys obviously have been through your share of addictions, but when that doctor told me that,
it sucks.
like, what was I supposed to do? Leave
yeah.
the person. And so it's been it was definitely a struggle, but for me, it's just important for people to know that there is hope.
Exactly.
There is hope, and as long as there's hope, there's a way.
Yeah.
100%.
And I just want to say that interventions work. Like, an addict doesn't want to be as sick as they're sick. Somebody suffering from severe mental health doesn't want to be where they're at. They just don't know how to get out.
Yeah.
And interventions do work. Interventions work for substance use. Interventions work for crisis. There's crisis intervention. There's suicide. Otherwise, we wouldn't have all these helplines and stuff like that. What people don't know is that help is available. And also people, and when you're in that, you don't want to be a burden, and you feel like a burden, and that's where you start to become suicidal.
That's right.
I just want to die.
Yeah, because they
Leave
lose
me
their
alone. I
self-worth.
wanna
You know what I
die.
mean? As they continue hurting themselves, whether they want to or not, the devil, the Satan's just chipping away a part of them. You know what I mean? But we got to remember, I don't know if you guys are people of faith, but there is a God, and he's more powerful than Satan, okay? And that's when we come into place. If we are people of faith, we have work to do. And so you're correct. Nobody wants to suffer. Nobody wants to stick a needle in their arm. Nobody wants to lose their teeth. Nobody wants to be on the street. But they got there. And so how do we prevent that from happening?
Well, first we have to destigmatize the fact that they're there, because there's there's people like us that are willing to help and willing to do whatever it takes, and I don't look at that person as anything other than somebody who's hurting.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't put yourself in that place. I wouldn't have put myself in those places if I wasn't hurting on the inside. They're hurting, and what they need is love, not whatever
judgment,
not judgment, not anger, not
expectations.
I'm not gonna help. I'm not gonna help you.
And
They need
not
a
a
hand.
Band-Aid.
They need a hand up.
They need empathy.
Not a
They need
hand out.
empathy. Yeah.
That's what we like to say in like the 12-step community. We'll give you a hand up, not a hand out.
I like it.
And then once you get up and you get out, then you go back and you help another person.
That's right.
That's how you stay out. That's our primary purpose as human beings, is to be maximum service to God and to others.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. 100% agree. And I, you ask about what inspired me. I've had my share of pain. I've had my share of, do I drink? Do I do drugs? Do I just take the pills? And I've always felt God was always telling me, Marlene, you're not done. Like he always painted a vision of my resilience and my my mission and like my strengths. And he would always be like, you're not done. And it didn't matter how much I was suffering. It didn't matter how much I was hurt, or how I felt about myself or what somebody else did to me. What mattered was that I wasn't done and that I was going to get up and get through it and help others. Like, that's all I knew, like over and over and over. And thank goodness, the reason why this was important for me to be here is to tell people that, that are at that moment where they feel that drugs are available, that, that glass of wine or whatever it is right there in their house. And drugs are, the friends got the drugs and they're getting invited and whatever, is that they have a choice. They have a choice. And right now is the time to exercise your choice and say no. And just say no. That's it. It reminds me of the 80s, the campaign, to say no, I think, right? But that's really what it is. You have a choice as a person to not get yourself lost with any of those bad choices. But it really is about love. And there's nothing more powerful than love. And I don't remember how to quote the Bible, like Jesus said, right? But above all, love one another. I mean, that's what we need to do, so money and this and that, and we're going to die without it. But there's nothing more beautiful, honestly, than showing somebody light and guiding them and supporting them and reminding them just how powerful they are and that they're here with us. Like, they're alive, their heart's ticking. You know what I mean? Like, that to me is like, that's life. That's being alive, and we gotta do something about it. We need more help. People need help.
People are desperate for help, to be honest with you. And that's why the world is getting so ugly, is because, there hasn't been enough voices like this, of voices of love and, and success through hardship. And, I mean, basically like testimony, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, sure. I didn't come from the bottom, but I went to the bottom. I came from a really good family. My dad's a doctor. My mom's a nurse. We lived on the top of the hill, and I went to the pits of hell, and I'm grateful for that, though, because the struggles made me into the person that I am today, that truly cares for other people's well-being. I'm out here fighting this fight because I lost a family member to the fentanyl crisis. Somebody very dear and very, very close to me.
Sorry about that.
And, I don't know if I would have had the empathy and the tenacity to not quit and not give up had I not been through all of the things that I had been through, and then this happening. Like, it basically woke up my addiction in a healthy, like, awakening of, because when you're an addict and you're addicted to drugs, there's no stop button. You can't just be like, yeah, I'm going to not use today. I mean, you can say it, but it ain't happening.
It's unfortunately very late for some, almost impossible to go back. Once you touch that stuff, it's we gotta, again, part of advocating is telling people the truth. Like, this stuff is powerful, and once you give in, you're giving out your power. You're just giving it up, and you giving it to that, whatever that thing is, that substance. And
well, that substance becomes a power greater than you.
Exactly. Correct.
now with what's happening with me is it woke it up in a way that, like, you know, I wake up every day to God, and you know, and I turn my will in my life, and that's my button that doesn't stop. Like, I'm on a mission from God to, you know, bring awareness, eradicate fentanyl, and let the world know that help's available, and hope is still alive, man. Like, and all you need, you know, I was listening to something today. Even hopeless has the word hope in it.
For sure.
That was on a Motiversity, you know, motivational speech.
I like
Get to
that.
Nathan,
You are?
one of the clients here. Yeah, he's doing good.
Nice.
Good.
Yeah, thank you. He thanks you.
He does? Why?
Yeah. Well, because you gave him partial scholarship.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
What a nice person.
yeah.
But it's also letting people know that they're not alone.
You're
And I
not
feel
alone.
you're feeling very much when you're at that place. It's very dark. You feel very self-isolated. You feel like you're the only one that is at that point of
Has
feeling
ever
despair.
felt that way? Yeah.
And it's having these open dialogues where people can be listened to or go to an event or feel okay with knowing that, oh my goodness, Shane, Chad, they did the same things as me. Whoa. You know, it's just one of those things where we're all human. We're not perfect. And everyone does struggle with some sort of pain in their life, because if I could, I wish that I got everything that I hoped and wished and dreamed of, but that's just not life.
We see, right?
Yeah, that's just not life.
For sure.
And the pain, you can't enjoy the success without the pain. You gotta experience some sort of pain to experience joy, or else you have no idea what that
There's
feels
always
like.
something to sacrifice. You know
Completely.
what I mean? There's always something we got to be willing to sacrifice. We just got to focus on sacrificing something that is not going to be us, like our
Totally.
well-being and our health
Yeah.
and our brain. You know what I mean? And so, but you know, one thing that that helps me, like you mentioned, God. Once you know what the source of your energy and your fight, once you know where it comes from, you don't get. I mean, yeah, you could get tired in sharing it and helping people through it, but it never ends. It never ends because it's coming from God, you know. And if there's one thing that I would want people to know is that even if they're not believers right now, because when you're going through something like this, you know, addiction, you don't believe very much, you know, in God, and you feel alone and hopeless and that sort of thing. But like you said, you know, you're never alone, and knowing that God is there, always with you. We are the ones that separate from him, but he's always there. And I think that God has a plan for all of us, and he had a plan for you. And he will do whatever it takes to make you stay as one of his sons, as one of his daughters. He will put you through whatever you got to go through to have you be with him. And, but we do have enough information and principles and values and education and people like you guys that if we are listening and we want to succeed and be happy, we're going to listen to people like you guys. We're going to raise our hands and say, I need some help. And it is okay to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is such a beautiful strength, you know, and for men too. So many men suffer out there, and they keep it all in, you know, because they were taught not to express it. And women, when they express it, we're like crazy. Oh, we're dramatic, you know. Yeah. I can bring some drama in if you want me to, you know what I mean? But it doesn't matter. I think we just need to stop judging each other and recognize that when there's pain and hurt, like, let's do something about it. Let's talk about it. Right?
It's not easy. Because when you're in it, it's tough to get out of the quicksand. And the more you're struggling, the more you sink.
But so what do we do to prevent people from
just like you
jumping
said,
in
you have to be that resource.
quicksand?
I think God is the answer. I mean, to be honest with you, that's the start of the new beginning.
That's the beginning and the end.
Is finding a God.
I mean, it is part of the steps. It's believe in a power greater than
Yeah,
yourself.
man. You got to find
I
a
don't
God.
care what that is,
Without
just-
something like that, you're lost. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, because it's really that's why I do. I mean, I'm not like a 12-step pusher, but I do love them because they're very simplistic, and it's very much. It doesn't matter like what you believe in. if people have an ill relationship with God or whatnot, it's pretty easy. All I usually say to like any woman that I sponsor is, as long as you don't think that you're running the show, because clearly you're not doing a very good job because you wound up here. So if you can take that and believe in something other than yourself, then you're good. And then what happens usually throughout the process, then all of a sudden you start to believe in, and you start to believe in your God.
You get,
You know, and that's a beautiful thing.
You get a good friend, you get a little commitment from somebody,
Totally.
your backbone gets back. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. It's hard. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
But it's also very possible. It's like, and as humans, we're resilient.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
We were, Richard Dolan, and you feel free to ask about him too, but though I was never sunk in any type of substance, I think I was definitely suffering from serious pain. And gosh, I can't, I would lie to you if I didn't think about suicide.
Sure.
I would lie to you if I didn't want to just end it. There were moments that I did, and they were very real. But thank goodness I didn't. But God is the answer. And there are 3 keepers that are constantly like governing us. They're with us. They're part of humanity. It happened from the moment of fall, like, when Adam and Eve fell. And that's judgment, ego, and fear. And we can't part ways from those keepers. They're always there. But you were talking about, if you can let go of that control, if you can put your ego aside, if you can stop fearing, if you can stop judging one another, like we will get to the source of your amazing self, like your beautiful light. And that's what I do. Like I want people to know that there are ways that the true essence of who they are can come out. But it takes a lot of work. Nobody said it's easy. I mean, life is not meant to be easy, but I do agree with you that it's not impossible, and it's something that we need to be very, very in tune with, helping one another.
Is that kind of what stems from? Is this your first event that you're putting on?
That's my first event.
Okay, Igniting. So this is happening on August 22nd at the Montage. I love the Montage.
What's not love?
I know. So this basically, everything that we have just touched on is kind of what birthed this, correct? Or no?
Yes, I believe so. I do believe so. It comes from my heart.
Sure.
It comes from something in my heart, something in my soul, something in my DNA, perhaps. Where I just feel that it truly is my mission to do as much as I can do to stand for what I believe in and to help people. Like, that's it. Like, I have an ability to be able to see someone and understand a lot of things without them even opening their mouth, and I love people. Like, I want to love you. You know what I mean? That's probably because when I was growing up, things changed in my life. And so I wanted to be loved,
Yeah, of course.
So, Igniting Humanity came to me like 10 years ago, and I started writing about it, and I didn't know where it was going to lead me. I had no idea that I was going to find my purpose and then know my calling. But ever since I got clear with it, I can't walk away from it. And that's the one thing that no matter how rough my life may be or get, when I get back to my calling, I'm good. I find the resilience and I find the courage and the purpose of my life.
I like what she said, and I want to tell you something. Sure. Sorry, I'm interrupting, and I apologize, because I feel that piece too. When I'm here and I'm in a bad mood, if I get on the phones and I start doing what I wanted, like what's in me, what I love doing, everything disappears, and I feel good.
What about you guys?
Yeah, I have that. I have that zone.
I knew what I was supposed to do on July 27th when I walked into this building and met these two.
God, that was a good one. That was better than my answer.
I want to be here right now.
Jesus.
Because I know that I'm here for a reason. I believe in this team. I believe in our leader, and I believe in what we're doing. And so that's how I knew that when I'm here, I'm away from my family. Like, a lot of people look at me like I'm cuckoo and crazy, but this is something bigger than me, and I'm gonna ride with them till the wheels fall off.
That's courage.
Wheels ain't falling off.
With me behind the wheel, they might.
I didn't know we had wheels on it yet.
But no,
we got 24
inches
inch
on there.
24
Probably has
inch
one.
rim.
What are those batteries from Tesla?
Yeah.
She probably has one, like a few of those.
Yeah. Got backup everything.
Yeah. No, it's
tell us about this event. Like what happened? So can anybody go? How do people go?
So I came back from
Oh,
an
I'm
event.
so sorry.
I
My
wanted
bad.
to-
My bad.
I wanted
Sorry.
to say mine.
I apologize.
Purpose?
Sorry.
Your purpose?
You know, I feel like it's too late.
No,
now.
Chad.
Remember how
Yeah,
like we were talking earlier?
Hey, no, we gotta talk
no.
about. You gotta speak up your mind. You gotta
Yeah.
speak your mind.
I'm just playing. Yeah, no, but I feel you because what Shane just said and Natalie, I found my purpose the day my daughter was born. You know, 5 days before that, I should have died in a car accident, and I knew the day that she was born, that God left me here to be a father first and foremost to her, and to help other people that suffer with the same thing that I suffer from. Yeah. And that's what I get up
So
and
what
do.
did you suffer from?
I had this thing in between my ears.
Cuckoo.
Crazy.
So your mind.
Yeah.
You feel like your mind did what?
Lies to him.
Lies to me. Tells me I'm worthless. Tells me
He can't succeed.
I can't
Yeah.
succeed.
I'm just telling you.
I
what
just,
think.
whenever I hear that about people, I'm just like, do you realize that God wants you so much that the devil's fighting like hard for you? And God is like, nope, he's mine. Like, the more you recognize that there's that voice that wants to pull you into destruction, the more you know you're valuable, the more you got to fight for it. And that's just like,
Oh, we always think that. We always think that the more that like God is trying to mess things, the devil is trying to mess things up. That's when you know you're on the right path.
that's right.
Oh yeah.
Because-
That's right.
Get attacked like nobody else's business, but like you know what? It's like you can't penetrate arrows through God's shield.
As long as we keep doing things, that is like the work of God, I think that He will protect us.
Oh
For
yeah.
So I mean,
Amen.
so
For
yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Okay, wait. So then, because I know that you have a call,
Yeah.
but can anybody go to this event? Like, what
So-
can anyone sign up?
I think that everybody and anybody should go to this event. This event, there is a charge, but not gonna lie to you, like it's gonna be a loss for us. We're not making any money.
Nothing's free, honey.
But it's okay
difficult.
because this came from a thing of just a desire, a wish in my heart that I knew I needed to do.
Yeah.
But anybody can come. And I want people that are struggling, that are stuck in life, that are having a rough time, that can't decide which way to go, that are going through transitions, that perhaps they just got divorced or they just found out they have cancer. I want those people to come because when I decided to do this event, I came from Brad Lee's event, Richard's and Brad Lee's event in Vegas. But something else had happened to me with a mastermind that I had joined. And it disappointed me. And it's unfortunate that I felt human about it. It disappointed me. The person that was handling that mastermind, or the leader of that mastermind, is actually very somewhat popular. And something happened where I thought, you know what? I am done. I am done playing small. I am done playing somebody else's game. Like, I'm going to start playing my game, and I'm going to start doing what I know it's what God wants me to do. And so I'm like, it's time to do an event, and it's time to go at it and do everything I can to make it possible. And so I'm like, let's do it. I partner up with Dr. Ramina. I asked Richard, he's been my mentor. By the way, everybody needs a mentor. And everybody that's like struggling, you know what I mean? But even those that are not, like the people that are not, it's good to have a mentor so that you can grow and develop and just, it's a good way to be accountable. But anyway, so Richard, I texted Richard. I'm like, Richard, I need to do an event. It's time. And he's like, I'm there. And so I was like, yes. So he's coming. Richard Dolan is the coach of coaches. He's worked with major brands. He didn't graduate from high school, and like the man is extremely successful out of Canada. Unbelievable, like communicator, facilitator, advisor. He's raised billions. He's definitely a money person, but he's also in the space of personal development. And it was through him that I was able to kind of gather all my experience of whatever, 40 years. And I thought, okay, you know, I'm clear again. I found my purpose through him. But yeah, anybody can attend this event.
Do they go to a website?
They can go to the website, ignitinghumanity.com. And it's called Igniting Humanity Through Health and Wellness. And it's where people are going to be ignited, you know, and know they're just, hopefully it'll be the beginning of finding their true purpose and understand their self-worth. That, you know, to me is where I should begin, your self-worth.
Awesome.
I agree. I mean, I like the name. I like the words, because sometimes, you know, we need a little ignite that flame inside. You know, sometimes it goes out.
Yeah.
And you need a little
push. Got to keep it burning, man.
Yeah.
I was taught when I first got here, I was going to do stuff for free. And the guy said, no, put a value to your time. Like at a very young age, I learned that.
You know, but why? What did they tell you why?
Because you're worth something. Your time is worth something.
Yeah.
You're a valuable person.
Yeah.
Put a dollar value to your time. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Our relationship with money is really important. We have to have a healthy relationship with money. And it doesn't mean you're greedy. It doesn't mean we're selfish. It just means that we're willing to work and take it as a duty and responsibility to be prosperous. That's what the Bible says to do anyway. You know what I mean? It's, you have that duty and responsibility for your family members, for your kids, for your community. Without money, we can't help, unfortunately, in this society very much. We need the funds, right? So yeah, I have a sponsorship link that is designed for businesses that want to give, not so much, you know, without caring whether it's a tax write-off or not. Like, I want people to give $20, $100, whatever it is, but give. Don't expect anything in return. Just give. Like, I want to take them back to that principle. So that's the best gift we can get, right? When somebody gives from the heart. So
I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, guys.
Yeah.
Good for you.
All right.
Picture time.